We also need clear messaging and a clear vision for our next election cycle, because being anti-Biden is not going to be enough. So we need to actually lay out a plan of how we're going to make people's lives better. DeSantis supplied this, and I also believe Kari Lake supplied this. It's important for voters to know who you are and what you stand for. That was never clear with Oz, for example. But the fact of the matter is, the Democrats had to burn through resources unlike ever before. Whole fortunes were staked on key races, and not all of them paid off. They spent millions of dollars to unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene, which was a joke and didn't even have a chance of working. In fact, towards the end of the cycle, races that were previously considered safe for Democrats siphoned much-needed cash in order to fend off Republican challengers. The other accomplishment is some of our candidates' resiliency against such impossible odds. Talk about slaying a dragon, many candidates went toe-to-toe with the gargantuan beast of the purse strings behind their opponents. This year, many candidates not only had to contend with the left, but also, in many cases, deliberate attempts at sabotage from establishment members of our own party. So it was hurdle after hurdle for them, trying to appease different factions. Each of these challenges in isolation is enough to completely torpedo even a healthy campaign. The Republican candidates for Secretary of State, candidate in Michigan, and for governor in Arizona each had to run against candidates who were actively running their state's own elections. In any other circumstance, this type of machine politics would be decreed as the kind of open corruption only seen in broken third world nations. And in many of these states, the elections proceeded like a typical failed state election, with slapdash rule changes at the last minute, widespread machine failures, and that sort of thing. And we have the press once again playing the dutiful mouthpiece for our oppressors. Every time the Democrats back a candidate like Biden or Fetterman, they must commit to the process of an endless cover-up. This type of operation requires resources and manpower. Most importantly, it takes a certain kind of political operative who is unquestioningly loyal, obedient, and completely lacking in integrity. In other words, the Democrats are ruthless. They have to cover for people like Biden and Fetterman. And that phrase, unquestioningly loyal, obedient, and lacking in integrity, perfectly sums up the kind of candidates they were also pushing. Imagine being a Democrat and how demoralizing it would be to have to vote for Fetterman, a semi-sentient person on the verge of collapse. Or what about Katie Hobbs, who has the personality of a plank of wood, who barely campaigned? That seems to be the Biden candidate's plan. These candidates have lost all pretense of being independent thinkers who care about their constituents. Who they are as people is no longer relevant to your average Democrat voter. The party is not even hiding the fact that these candidates are no more than puppets.